This is on.
This is on. No. Okay. Anyway, I said, you know, from the mic myself. Like usually.
Hare Krishna.
Anyways, okay. So now, let's see. Narayana Namaskritya.
Narayana Namaskritya.
Narachayana Rotamam. Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam. Tojayamudhiraya. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should first offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God in Narayan, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Srimvatam Swakata Krishna. Srimvatam Swakata Krishna. Punya Shravana Kirtanaha. Punya Shravana Kirtanaha. Vidyantasto Yabhadrani.
Vidyantasto Yabhadrani.
Vedunoti Saritsatam.
Vedunoti Saritsatam.
Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages. Oh, I'm coming out. Good. It's been lonely here. Which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nastaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki.
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki.
By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So we have reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's Canto 2, Chapter 2, entitled The Lord in the Heart, and the text is verse 9. Actually, we're going to do 9, 10, and 11, but this is a relationship between me and Gokula Ranjana Prabhu, because he thought these would all go, these three go together, and then he'd have the next one, so it kind of made sense. So, text 9. I just threw away the ribbon. Thought it was attached. I didn't throw it away. Okay. So, Prasana, Vaktram, Nalina Yatekshanam, Nalina breaks up into Nalina Ayata and Ikshanam. Nalina Ayata Ikshanam Nalinaya Tekshanam Prasana Vaktram Nalinaya Tekshanam Kadamba Kinjalka Hishanga Vasasam Kadamba Kinjalka Pishanga Vasasam
Pisanga Vasasam
Lasan
Maha
Ratna Hiran that breaks down into Hiran Maya and Angadam. Hiran Maya Angadam. Hiran Mayangadam. Trying to get really stick to this here. Hiran Mayangadam. Good? Okay. Lasan Maharatna Hiran Mayangadam.
Lasan Maharatna Haran Mayangadam.
Spuran
Maha Ratna Karita Kundalam
Spuran Maharatna Kirita Kundalam
Spuran Ratna Karita Kundalam
Prasana Vaktram Nalinaya Tekshanam. Yes, Mary. You're supposed to repeat. Nobody's repeating. We're not doing that today. The normal thing to do is everybody's supposed to Prasana Vaktram Nalinaya Tekshanam.
Prasana Vaktram Nalaya Yekshanam
Kadamba Kinjalka Pishanga Vasasam.
Kadamba Kinjalka Pishasam
Lasan Maharatna Hiran Mayangadam.
Lasan Maharatna Hiranyagadam
Spuran Maharatna Kirita Kundalam.
Spuran Maharatna Kirita Kundalam
Prasana Vaktram Nalinaya Tekshanam.
Prasana Vaktram Nalinaya Tekshanam
Kadamba Kinjalka Pishanga Vasasam.
Idamba Kinjalka Prashanga Vasasam.
Vasan Maharatna Hiranmayangadam.
Vasan Maharatna Hiranmayangadam.
Spuran Maharatna Kirita Kundalam.
Spuran Maharatna Kirita Kundalam.
I think that was two. Okay. Prasana Bhaktram Nalinaya Tekshanam.
Prasana Bhaktram Nalinaya Tekshanam.
Kadamba Kinjalka Pishanga Vasasam.
Kadamba Kinjalka Prasanga.
Vasan Maharatna Hiranmayangadam.
Vasan Maharatna Hiranmayangadam.
Spuran Maharatna Kirita Kundalam.
Spuran Maharatna Kirita Kundalam.
Okay, please chant. You can try? No? Okay, I guess it's Kacha.
Prasana Bhaktram Nalinaya Tekshanam.
Prasana Bhaktram Nalinaya Tekshanam.
Kadamba Kinjalka Pishanga Vasasam.
Kadamba Kinjalka Pishanga Vasasam.
Vasan Maharatna Hiranmayangadam.
Vasan Maharatna Hiranmayangadam.
Spuran Maharatna Kirita Kundalam.
Spuran Maharatna Kiritavam.
Nobody else can try. Nobody else can do it. Okay. So, Prasana expresses happiness.
Expresses happiness.
Bhaktram
Bhaktram
mouth. Nalina Ayata
Nalina
spread like the petals of a rose.
Spread like the petals of a lotus.
Lotus, I'm sorry. See the tricky things the brain does when it wants to. Spread like the petals of a lotus. Okay. Ikshanam
eyes.
Kadamba flower.
Kadamba flower.
Kinjalka
saffron.
Pishanga
yellow.
Vasasam
garments.
Lasat hanging.
Maharatna
valuable jewels. Hiranmaya made of gold. Angadam ornament.
Spurat glowing. Maharatna
valuable jewels. Kirita headdress. Kundalam earrings. Okay, translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada.
His mouth expresses his happiness. His eyes spread like the petals of a lotus, and his garments, yellowish like the saffron of a kadamba flower, are bedecked with valuable jewels. His ornaments are all made of gold, set with jewels, and he wears a glowing headdress and earrings. So, I guess please repeat, we'll do this one. His mouth expresses his happiness.
His mouth expresses his happiness.
His eyes spread like the petals of a lotus.
His eyes spread like the petals of a lotus.
And his garments,
yellowish
like the saffron of a kadamba flower.
Yellowish like the saffron of a kadamba flower.
Are bedecked with valuable jewels. His ornaments are all made of gold.
His ornaments are all made of gold.
Set with jewels. And he wears a glowing headdress. And
earrings.
So now read the next one. I'll just read. These are so long. I'll just read through. Unidra Grit Panjaka Karnikalaye Yogeshvarasta Pitapada Palavam Shilakshanam Kaustuba Ratnakandharam Amlana Lakshmya Vanamalaya Chitam. And translation, his lotus feet are placed over the whorls of the lotus-like heart of great mystics. On his chest is the Kaustuba jewel, engraved with a beautiful calf, and there are other jewels on his shoulders. His complete torso is garlanded with fresh flowers. Anybody want to repeat this section by section so you get it better, or want me to? Yeah, okay. So, repeat. His lotus feet are placed.
His lotus feet are placed
Over the whorls of the lotus-like hearts.
over the whirls of the lotus-like hearts
Of great mystics.
of great mystics.
On his chest is the Kaustuba jewel.
On his chest is the Kaustuba jewel,
Engraved with a beautiful calf.
engraved with a beautiful calf.
And there are other jewels on his shoulders.
And there are other jewels on his shoulders.
His complete torso
His complete torso
is garlanded with fresh flowers.
is garlanded with fresh flowers.
Okay, purport by His Majesty Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Shiva Prabhupada.
Short purport, never doing the next one too. The ornaments, flowers, clothing, and all the other decorations on the transcendental body of the personality of Godhead are identical with the body of the Lord. None of them are made of material ingredients. Otherwise, there would be no chance of their decorating the body of the Lord. As such, in the power of Yoma, spiritual varieties are also distinguished from the material variegatedness. So the next one, this is verse 11. Vibhushitam mekalayan guriyakair mahadanair nupurakan kanatihi snigdham alakunshita nilakuntalayir virochamananaha sapeshalam. So the translation, he is well decorated with an ornamental wreath about his waist and rings studded with valuable jewels on his fingers. His leglets, his bangles, his oiled hair curling with a bluish tint, and his beautiful smiling face are all very pleasing. Please repeat. He is well decorated.
Is well decorated
With an ornamental wreath.
With an ornamental wreath
About his waist.
about his waist.
And rings studded with valuable jewels.
And rings studded with valuable jewels
On his fingers.
on his fingers.
His leglets.
His leglets.
His bangles.
His bangles.
His oiled hair.
His oiled hair.
Curling with a bluish tint.
Curling with a bluish tint.
And his beautiful smiling face.
And his beautiful smiling face
Are all very pleasing.
are all very pleasing.
So the purport here is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the most beautiful person amongst all others. And Srila Shukadeva Goswami describes every part of his transcendental beauty, one after another, in order to teach the impersonalists that the personality of Godhead is not an imagination by the devotee for facility of worship, but is the Supreme Person in fact and figure. The impersonal feature of the Absolute Truth is but his radiation, as the sun rays are but radiations from the sun. Om Jnana-Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurubhai Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So, very visual 3 verses here. And in a way I could respond to them better by painting them. But anyways, so I thought of things to say anyways. But so, for one thing, I said recently in class that I don't know what what Brahman is, because I thought Brahman was on the level of the universal form. Now I found out I was wrong, because the universal form is really about super soul. And so then I said I didn't know. But then, I read and paid attention and realized, the Brahman is the Brahmajyoti, that glowing radiance. So it's everywhere. Although it's covered in the material world, it's here, but we can't see it. It's covered by darkness. But it still manifests in the darkness through the sun and the moon and fire and electricity, like that. And so the Brahman level of understanding is the light. Go to the light. That's a Brahman level of understanding, and it would be very difficult to make spiritual advancement just thinking about the light. So it's very difficult. So this is for the impersonalist to understand that God is a person. So he has personal forms. This is a description of his personal form. And the impersonalist sometimes, like in India, sometimes, and I'm sure these philosophies are universal, so in America too, that worship the form of the Lord in the deity form, and they even worship demigods. What's the difference? Because they're all just to help us focus our worship, and if we actually make spiritual advancement, we understand it's all impersonal, we're all one. So it was just a beginning level practice thing to give us a focus. So that's what they say. And so this is against that. And this is real. This is what it really looks like. When I was really new to Krishna consciousness, I had in my hands a Chaitanya Charitamrita volume describing the different expansions of the quadruple forms in the spiritual Vaikuntha planets. And there's a long list of these different names and different ways, different hands they held their items in. And that disturbed me because at that time I was just getting used to the idea that, okay, God has a form and sometimes he's got 4 arms. And he holds these things. I was just getting used to that idea, and all of a sudden this thing, it seemed like it was humanly, mathematically derived, artificially distinguished, it seemed like to me, because you can take your mathematical thing and put the items in different hands and come up with X number of different arrangements of that, and give different names, and then make statues like that and call it different forms of God. That's what I was thinking. And that really disturbed me, because I was just getting into this God is a person with form thing. And then this. So I didn't understand, so what happened was, it came to me, I don't know if it was in a dream or it was one of those like waking dreams that's sort of like a vision that takes place in your imagination process in your brain, but you get an insight. So it was sort of like a vision like that. And I saw Lord Vishnu holding his items, and not only was he radiant with effulgence, but each of the items was also. So each of the items was like a living person. And I forgot to look this up, but I know for sure, I'm pretty sure that those items are his weapons that are offering prayers to him in personified form in one of the ending chapters of the Krishna book, where all these personified personalities are offering prayers. And the personified Vedas and etc. And I believe that his weapons are there also offering prayers. So it says here they're non-different from him, but yet Vishnu is non-different from Krishna, and Vishnu also wants to get Krishna's darshan. So he went through this whole thing to get Arjuna to need for Krishna to take him there so that he could see Krishna. So even though they're one, they're a little different too. So these weapons and other items that Lord Vishnu holds in his hands are living also. They are not items. They're living personalities, part of the personality of Godhead. And they worship him and serve him, but they are not different from him. And they're spiritual, just like his body is. In fact, all of the Paravyoma, the spiritual sky, has spiritual variegatedness that is just as distinguished from the material variegatedness as souls are from matter in this world. So you take what appears to be matter in the Paravyoma, in the spiritual sky, and it's spiritual. It has all the varieties, but probably the varieties that exist in the spiritual world are the pattern after which matter is molded for varieties in this world. But they are eternally existing pure spirit varieties. There's no dull matter. There are no dead items in the spiritual world. They're all either souls or energies or parts of Krishna serving him, or expansions of Krishna. There's no dead matter, no dead items. So it's all living. The spiritual sky is self-effulgent. And by the way, that vision I had, I painted a picture from. I did a picture of it. So I think I did it in pastel. But the items were glowing too, because that was a very important realization for me. Oh, and besides that, the subtle varieties between the forms, it's not just mathematically derived, because if you think deeply about it, the different hands have different degrees of significance. Even though for Krishna, in his transcendental body, every part can do what every other part does. But in expression and usage and so on, that the first right hand will be the first hand, and like that. So it may be dominating in its, so whatever that hand holds in it, and over the second hand holds it, all the different subtle variations of importance in the different hands of self-expression, what they hold in them could make a difference, that this is a slightly different aspect of the personality of Godhead, expressing a slightly different mood. So all these different forms, like what are they, 23 or something like 23 forms, or 24 forms of the Vishnu forms in Vaikuntha, that have the different names and holding the different items in different hands. They're not going to be identical personalities, although they're pretty similar. There's some differences. The different items are for different purposes. Like there's 2 peaceful items and two violent items. The disc and the club are for killing the demons, and the lotus and the conch shell are for calling the devotees and attracting the devotees. And so which is held in what hand makes a somewhat different personality expression. All one. Everything's all one. So we need to be too bogged down about this. But after all, Krishna is unlimited in all kinds of subtle ways and variegated ways and expression and everything. So different ways for him to be unlimited, different ways for him to expand.
It is 24.
24 items. Yeah, 24 different forms with different items held in different hands. Which is, I know how it comes up to 24 because you think it will be 16, 4 times 4. But anyways, I was going to figure that out and I forgot all about it since yesterday. So, well, let's go to, in talking about the Paravyoma in chapter 15, easier to read from here, of the Bhagavad Gita. The 15 talks about the Paravyoma, and 15:6. Well, first of all, chapter 15 talks about the entanglement in the material world, the upside down banyan tree and all the leaves and vines and branches and roots and everything, and how the soul is bewildered by all these things. So just to, I'll read 15:5 also, and then 6. And 7 also. 15:5. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust. All these things Prabhupada told us, the path, told us how to be, explained how each thing works, how the science of the false prestige, illusion, false association, eternal lust, like that. We've explained all these things. So we can become those who are free from false prestige, from illusion, from false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. And we are given all the knowledge we need for that and the method of practicing it. So, text 6. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. By the way, sometimes people say, well, once you go there, you can't fall back down again. Well, you can choose to come if you want. Nobody ever does. It's like a bad restaurant. Nobody ever goes to it. But you could, but nobody does. So there's another place I just saw Prabhupada said something like, never be forced to return. Never be required to return. So if somebody wants to, but now we're required to return. Until we become pure, we're required to return.
Also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Chaitanya instructs his mother that if she doesn't follow Ekadasi, those people fall down even from Vaikuntha.
Who don't follow Ekadasi. Yeah, that's... Somebody in Vaikuntha not follow Ekadashi?
I don't know, but I'm wondering, how strictly, what if we make a mistake,
Well, once you get to the spiritual world, you're not forced. But if you don't, and if you don't follow Ekadashi, you're choosing to take association of material things. I guess. Only I don't know how that happens in Vaikuntha. But Vaikuntha is not all the way back to our original starting point, because we're all from Goloka Vrindavan. Vaikuntha is partway back. It's the only thing I know about it might pertain. Vaikuntha, you don't have to take birth again, but maybe you have to follow Ekadashi or something.
I've also heard that my Guru Maharaj was talking about if you want to go from Vaikuntha to Goloka Vrindavan, you have to come back here.
It says that that's true, but you come back in a special way. It says that in Brihat Bhagavatam, Gopakumara went all the way up to Vaikuntha, but and all the way up to Dwarka, in fact. Vaikuntha, Ayodhya, Dwarka in the spiritual world. But in order to come to Goloka Vrindavan in his actual constitutional position, he had to go back to the material world, but to a place where Krishna's pastimes were happening, to Vrindavan in the material world, so that he could make that final. And we know that there are different souls, and some of them come down to participate in the pastimes because they always go where Krishna goes. And sometimes souls are just finishing, perfecting. So you have to come back, not to fall down because you can follow the Ekadashi. That would be a different category. So I don't understand. I've seen that, but I don't understand what that means. I won't pretend to.
It just, it inspires me to try to be all that most.
Yeah, try to follow the Ekadashi, yeah. So, I don't know, if you make it back to Vaikuntha, we've all broken Ekadashi. So what's the use? We've all been in the material world for so long, not following Ekadashi. So what's the use of going to Vaikuntha? Because we didn't follow Ekadashi, we had to come down. So I don't understand that. It may mean something specific that I don't understand. So, okay, so the spiritual world is not illumined by the sun or moon. It's self-illuminated because everything is spiritual. Everything is either Krishna, or Krishna's energy, or Krishna's expansion, or pure souls serving Krishna in the spiritual world. That's all there is. No dull matter, no dead things. Yeah.
This is why someone asked, are there shadows in the spirit?
The shadows if Krishna wants them for pastimes. So, the living entities, this is 7. The living entities in this conditional world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind. So here we are, we're eternal fragmental parts, but we're in this world. So, and in this world, Krishna has come with us. We may have decided to leave him, but it's all free will. We decided to leave him, but he didn't decide to leave us. So, okay, we want to not see him, but he wants to see us. So he comes along as super soul, a part of himself, and he accompanies us wherever we go. Never leaves us. He never chose to do that. He never chooses such a thing. So, let's see. True Yogi is 6. Let's go back to 6. Chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita. Let's see, 29, 30, 31. This is about the process of dhyana yoga, or meditational yoga. But in the middle of describing all these rigors of strict rules and everything, and how to control your mind and sit on kusha grass and all these things, then Krishna just goes into the deep meaning of it. And Arjuna's not even ready. You see, after this, he's still worried about following the rules and how he would fail. But Krishna just, forget the rules. He just goes into this devotional thing. 629. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. That's what we're talking about. Virat Rupa, the universal form of the Lord, is the super soul in everything. And now we're talking about the super soul himself. He's everywhere. He's in every atom. He's in every heart. He's in the heart of every germ, tree, animal, human, good human, bad human. He's there. He's everywhere. And we just can't see him. He's everywhere. But that true yogi observes Krishna in all beings and also sees every being in me. We all come from Krishna too, so. Then, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Right in the middle of discussing this strict meditational yoga, which Krishna does not even expect Arjuna to try to follow, he's just telling him about it, and Arjuna is in fact veering away from it. He says, I can't do that, which is what Krishna really wants Arjuna to fight. So he doesn't really want him to do this. But in the middle of it, he's just talking about this pure devotional exchange between the soul and Krishna. How the one who sees Krishna everywhere and sees everything in Krishna. He's never lost to Krishna, and Krishna's never lost to him. So he's never, that pure love is there, and they're never separated. So then he says, for such a yogi, so actually let me go look at the verse here. So in this one, Krishna quotes the Brahma Samhita, and I'll read that in English. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who's always seen by the devotee whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen as an eternal form of Shamasundar, seated within the heart of the devotee. Shamasundar, Govinda, these are highest. This is Krishna and playing the flute and Goloka Vrindavan. So this is the highest. In the middle of all this, he says the highest here. This highest, so Prabhupada identifies in the purport that this verse is Krishna thinking about the pure devotee who sees him as Krishna. And then he says, and then he's kind of like back on. He had been talking about yogis, right? So now Krishna's kind of back. He says, such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Supersoul, knowing that I and the Supersoul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. So this is about the Supersoul again. So a yogi who is practicing meditation on the Supersoul sees within himself the plenary portion of Krishna as Vishnu, with 4 hands holding Kanksha, wheel, club, and lotus flower. The yogi should know that Vishnu is not different from Krishna. Krishna in this form of Supersoul is situated in everyone's heart. Furthermore, there's no difference between the innumerable Supersouls present in the innumerable hearts of living entities. Nor is there a difference between a Krishna-conscious person, always engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, and a perfect yogi engaged in the meditation on the Supersoul. The yogi in Krishna consciousness, even though he may be engaged in various activities while in material existence, remains always situated in Krishna. This is confirmed in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Srila Rupa Goswami. Let's see this. One more point I want to say. Let's see. No, it says somewhere here. I know it says, you remember something, I can't find the word it says, but I know that that yogi who's thinking of the super soul becomes a pure devotee and turns into a pure devotee and can't bear to be not seeing the super soul at any moment. So I wanted to look for that. I wanted to read that sentence. I know it says that in here. I can't find it right now. So anyways, that was an important point in that. So the yogi to see the super soul everywhere and to see Krishna is really non-different. It's sort of a different level because super soul is more formal and Krishna is more personal. He's more revealing of himself. But otherwise, it's no different. It's the same. And then 11, chapter 11. Who is Krishna in the universal form that he shows to Arjuna, where he's showing the insight. He starts out showing Arjuna the whole world and everything created, and then he says, well, you can't see me, so I give you transcendental eyes, and all of a sudden now Arjuna sees Krishna inside this universal form. He sees the spirit soul. So finally he asks, what is your mission? So let me find it in there. 11:31. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. then the answer given in that one, 1132, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I've come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides are being slain." So he's the destroyer. Time I am, he's come to destroy. And so, at the same time, this beautiful image that we're getting in the verse today is his mouth expresses his happiness. So this is very complicated. This is all the universal forms, all super soul. So what is his mission? And so is Arjuna, that his mission is he's a destroyer. He's going to destroy everything. He's going to kill all these soldiers on both sides. More about that mission, 1861 and 62. It's about the super soul again. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. O Scion of Bharata, 62. Surrender unto him utterly. By his grace you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. So that's his mission. He's directing our wanderings, and by his grace we can attain, if we surrender to him, we can attain the supreme and eternal abode. So this seems like not contradictory missions. It's all one mission. The same Vishnu holds the club and the disc, and the Kamsha and the lotus flower. So he is destroying everything material. He destroys everything material that we're so attached to in order to help us come back to him. Because we get attached and we experience destruction. We get attached, we experience destruction, etc., on and on and on. But he is calling us with his beautiful form, his lotus flower, his conch shell, calling us, attracting us, and smiling his happiness. Especially if we become surrendered enough to see him, he'll be very happy. So he will certainly smile his happiness. Otherwise, he's aloof and in his own blissful existence, but he knows all our pain. So he's not really happy about that. But once we turn to him, he's very happy. So his mission is the same. This whole material world is actually a mission. It's a preaching center. Everything that exists outside of Goloka Vrindavan is a preaching program to get us back, no matter how long it takes. So we may need to learn a whole lot of lessons, like millions and billions of lessons, and before we get it through our heads that actually we need to surrender. But then the surrendering ability is right there available, and he's right there with us through all this, and will bring us back to. And if we go up to Vaikuntha, we worship him in a formal way. Go to Vaikuntha. It's not over yet. There's it's still a preaching mission to bring us back to. We have a constitutional position, and I don't know if there are personalities whose constitutional position is in Vaikuntha, or if that's where their attachment is now, like Bhishma. Certainly, Vaikuntha planets exist forever, and certainly someone like Hanuman, who is attached to Sitaram. And can't be otherwise. He is only attached to them. Maybe his eternal constitutional position is in the Vaikuntha planet where Ramachandra is. I don't really know this. Do you know?
Well, I was just going to say, Maharaj Gupta in Chaitanya Lila is Hanuman.
Yes,
so
but it's also in Chaitanya.
Maybe they have,
yeah.
Their eternal Swarup is. Sometimes they can be like.
Right.
More than one place at the same time.
Right.
I don't know. I've never heard it discussed, but obviously he's attracted to Lord Chaitanya as well.
And Lord Chaitanya is the highest. He's Radha and Krishna, and he's bringing people to. Yeah. So, but Maharaj Gupta could not give up his attachment for Sitaram.
Right.
So this is very complicated and deep, but all of it is Krishna. It's not different. It's just different aspects of Krishna. We don't really have to worry about that. We just love Krishna. We can surrender to the super soul. It's right in there. Some people are saying, yeah, but super soul isn't Krishna. I used to worry about that. What if I'm attached to super soul and I go to Vaikuntha and I'm supposed to go to Goloka Vrindavan? Well, that's not something to worry about, because the purpose of super soul is to bring us to Goloka Vrindavan. So you're attached to the right guy. He wants to bring you to Goloka Vrindavan. So that's his mission. So there's many possible routes. In a way, there's one route, but in a way, there's many routes because you may have this sidetrack, that sidetrack, and that sort of thing. Yeah. Do you have your hand up? Oh. Okay. So I think I'll stop here. And any more comments or questions? Okay. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.